Trust in me, my love. Lean with your heart, for you can't understand me. Round winding roads, rely on me. Remember, I'll make straight the way. Trust in me, my love. When you're so tired 'cause you can't understand, rest then your head beside my heart and dream of the world on the way. Trust in me, my love. Lean with your heart, for you can't understand me. Round winding roads, rely on me. Remember, I'll make straight the way. Remember, I'll make straight the way. Remember. And trust in me, my love. When you're so tired 'cause you can't understand, love, rest then your head beside my heart and dream of the world on the way. Rest in your head beside my heart and dream of the world on the way. Dream of the world on the way. Lord, what you have for us is more than we can imagine. Things are never that simple, not so readily understood. Much bigger, much better than that. Incomprehensible, height, depth, length, breadth, love, beyond understanding. Lord, help us to lean with our heart, to realize that everything that you've promised is going to be in the seeing even better than we ever dreamt or imagined. Lord, help us to keep holding on with hope and letting go with love. Thanks, Lord, for always being with us and for us. Thank you. Good morning. Good to be with you. I hope that this is helping you. It helps me every time I think about the things that I'll share with you right now. Hopefully I can help you by sharing a few things that I've been thinking, things I see when I look here at John's Gospel. And here in John chapter 20, once again, we see that the way it works, the way John's Gospel works, the way life itself works. The end is the beginning is the end. It moves around in a circular motion, but not just monotonously so, but an upward spiral, ever ascending. That's life. That's the way it is here in the gospel. It's the way that it is from eternity past. It's the only thing that we can observe, and yet it's not automatic, at least not for free will beings made in God's image like you and I. For us, it's not automatic. It wouldn't be love if it were compulsory or forced in any way. Do you wish to get well? That's the question that Jesus poses. Do you want to get well? The circular motion is certain. The upward call is certain. But are we moving upward? There has to be a willingness. We have to give our own assent to the ascent. The future is moving forward? Are we going to move with it? And so assenting to the assent, giving our own volitional go ahead with that. That's what I see here in John's gospel, where we've been seeing Mary here weeping beside the tomb. And for her there, the garden tomb seems like a dead end, when in fact, like full circle, in the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. He was in the beginning, he was in Genesis with God. And the Bible itself begins with the word, let there be. Let there be. That can sound like a word of closure or a word of opening. What follows? Let there be what? Ultimately, when it comes from God's mouth, it's let there be love, let there be light. But that's the beginning. And just like the book of Genesis, it begins in a garden. Now for Mary, it's a garden tomb, but in fact, it's a garden womb. It's the place from which everything has flowed and grown. And that's the picture that's being painted. Now again, we have a gardener. The first man, Adam, was a gardener, and from his side was formed friendship, community. From the one man, all humanity has came forth from his side. That's the picture that's painted back there in the garden womb, in the first book, the book of Genesis. From the one came the many. And now here's Mary in the garden beside the tomb, and she's weeping because, as we've seen, she lost sight. She lost sight of her hope. She held on to her hope, but to her the hope was dead. The hope was Jesus, and Jesus was dead, and she'd lost sight of him. And she would have been content if she could have just found his body, because he was the one that she loved, the one that everything else was contained in that one. And she thought that he had died. Well, he did die, but she thought that death was the end. And so she lost sight of her hope. She couldn't find where did they lay his body, and she's panicked, she's fearful, she's weeping over that. And the hope that she'd had, she still held in her heart, but she saw it as a dead hope. She saw him as dead. And when you hold something dead in your heart, then your heart itself becomes a tomb. You know, she was the tomb because her hope was something dead inside of her, and she was just hoping to see that hope again, even the dead hope, just to see that. But hope that is seen, that's not the hope that we hope in. You know, we want to see something again, but you know, that's not the hope to hope in. She had seen her hope die. She saw it with her own eyes. It passed right through the windows of her soul, and she saw her hope die there on the cross. She witnessed that. She saw from his side flowing the blood and the water. And for the Roman guards, that was the proof. He's dead. It was the proof. He's dead. And she saw it the way they saw it. It proves it. He's dead. And now her hope dead, held inside of her, her heart becomes like a tomb. Now, we know the hope lives. It was him inside stirring, waking her up, getting there before it was light. It's always that love that moves in the darkness, that stirs with groanings too deep for words. He was on the move. She just wasn't aware of that yet. That's why this picture is so useful, because our hope is still the same. But she'd lost sight of her hope. She'd seen him die. And somehow she had to survive, because we got to survive. So for a couple of days, she just survived. She went on with this dead hope that she held on inside of her, and but now she can't even see that hope, and she's distraught. But what Mary didn't see, Jesus taught plenty on this subject, but what we often fail to see is that the hope that we can see is not the hope to hope in. because it's like a seed. And the seed that you see, if you can see the seed, there it is. There's my hope. There's my seed. If you can see the seed, it's dormant. That's that hope that you can see there in your hand, that seed in your hand, it sleeps. It's dormant. That's not the seed that can plant roots. It won't plant roots there in your palm. That's not the seed that can grow and blossom and abound. It's the seed that you can't see. It's the one that you let go. You let it fall. You let it go. It gets buried. It's covered up. You can't see it anymore. That's the seed that you hope in. The unseen seed. And he's going to prove, as he always will prove, that if you put your hope there, you put your hope in him, he'll wake you up to the fact that, you know what? You may not be aware, but he's aware. You may not be in control of a good thing, but he's in control and he cares. And so, she's going to get that vision, and it's a faith thing. It's a vision with the eyes of the heart. I hope that this helps you to see, because it sure helps me to think along this line, that it's the unseen seed. It's the one you let go. It's the buried one. That's the one to hope in. That's a lesson I have to learn again and again and again. Let it go. Let it go. Love lets go, but hope holds on. Let it go. Let it fall. Let it be buried. Quit looking at it. You don't have to see it. It's the unseen seed that's the living one. That's the one that's going to come back, blossom, abound. That's a hard lesson to learn. I don't think you learn it one time. And as many times as we have to learn to let go, learn to just hope in the things we can't see. Maybe with practice, like most things, if we just keep practicing it all the time, practice it, let go. Let go in love, hold on in hope. Let go in love, hold on in hope. Breathe out. Love, let it go. Breathe in, hope, hold on. To keep that, maybe with practice, as hard as it is, it'll get easier. Most things do get easier. As we practice, God help us to practice, to keep letting go. Love lets go, while hope holds on. It's not one or the other, it's both. It's not just breathe out, breathe in. It's both. Love lets go, while hope holds on. And that's the picture that I see here. We read that when Mary stooped down and looked, where are we? John chapter 20, verse 12, says that Mary stooped and looked, and she beheld two angels in white, sitting one at the head and one at the feet, where the body of Jesus had been lying. And they said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping?" She said to them, "Because they have taken away my Lord, and I don't know where they've laid him. They've taken away my hope. I don't know where they've put it. I don't know where my hope has gone." And when she had said this, she turned around. So the angels ask her, and she doesn't seem to be particularly shocked or certainly not enamored, excited about the fact that she's seeing angels. She just looks in there. She's not looking for angels. She's looking for him. And when she looks for him, she sees these angels, but she turns her back on them. As soon as they ask the question, "Why are you weeping?" she gives the answer, but they are not the answer, because she's in love with a person, and angelic visions, even supernatural sightings, angelic visions can't satisfy personal love, because personal love for a person, is a passion that can only be satisfied in reunion with that person, with that love. And so she has this angelic vision. She sees that, but she turns her back on that, as love always will. That's not my interest, Where's my beloved? Though he's dead, where have they laid my hope? That's what she's looking for. Now, there are angels Angels are, by definition, messengers. They could have said to her, why, he's right outside there. In fact, the guy that you think is the gardener is not the gardener, that's Jesus. But they don't say those sorts of things because that's not the way we see. We don't see because someone told us. Even an angel told me. I had a vision. We see because something in our own hearts. We hear him who speaks to us, calls us by name. And we have to be willing. Again, we have to want to grow in that love relationship. But that's the way visions, that's the way true heart visions happen. They happen at the heart level. So, angelic visions, all of these, supernatural sightings, she turns her back on that. It says that when she'd said this, she turned around and then she beheld Jesus standing there, but she didn't know that it was Jesus. And Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom are you seeking?" And she said to him, supposing him to be the gardener, she said to him, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him, and I will take him away." Here the gardener speaks to her. She wasn't looking for the gardener, was she? But she sees him. He asks her a same question that the angels asked. But she answers him. She hears him. She listens to him. She answers him with respect. It's not like, you're just the gardener. Don't bother me. I don't talk to strangers. It's respectfully listening, hearing, responding to one who was, that's a stranger. She found that he was not a stranger. He was her friend, the friend. But, she never would have known that or seen that or heard that if she weren't willing to, first of all, listen and talk with him. And poetically enough, of course, the gardener is just like the first gardener. It's the man, the Son of Man. It's Jesus. But, as she does that little dialogue with him, it's very short. But I imagine that if we were willing, let me just imagine for myself, if I were willing to do more of that, talking with people, hearing, listening, responding respectfully to them, I wonder how often I might find that I'm not just dealing with the gardener or who else? The janitor, the caretaker, the nurse, the neighbor, the whoever, that in fact, I'm dealing with Jesus. Now again, this was the beginning. But the beginning is the picture of how it proceeds. And Jesus already made it clear to us that when we're dealing with the brethren, his brethren, even the least of his brethren, and I don't believe he's talking about any kind of club, we are the brothers of the Moose Lodge or the High Raccoon super duper Christian society. It's not a club. Jesus continually acknowledged himself as the son of Adam, the son of humanity. I think when we deal with humanity, even the least of humanity, we're dealing with him. From the one has come the many. And in our dealings with the many, each of the many, even the least of them, we're dealing with the one. Now, do I live that way? Do I understand it? Is it way over my head? Absolutely. But I'll just leave it there to consider. Because Jesus certainly left it with us to consider. As she's listening and talking and dealing with the gardener, she finds out she's dealing with the one. She's dealing with the beloved. And Jesus said to her, "Mariam." She turned to him And in Hebrew, or in the Aramaic dialect, she responded, Rabboni, which means teacher. And John goes out of his way to make sure that we can hear, may not hit us on a heart level like it would people whose native tongue was Aramaic. Certainly these two people who recognized each other's voice, but John's trying to help us to hear that what was said was something very intimate and personal. It was in their native tongue. It was the way they talked to each other. Miriam, Rabboni. He spoke from his heart. The mouth speaks out of that which fills the heart. From his heart, he called her by name. And from his heart, through his lips, entering her heart, then back from her lips, comes that full circle. Terms of endearment. Mariam, Rabboni. Terms of endearment from each of their lips. It's the picture of a holy kiss. A holy kiss on the highest level, from the lips of one to the lips of another, through the heart, in the personal connection of love. The holy kiss that's just such an intimate, precious, personal picture of how each of us are loved. And how much he loved her. And when those words are spoken, there is in that holy kiss a spark of life that just jumps the gap. It's a spark that jumps the gap from the lips of one to the lips of another, from the heart of one to the heart of another. And when that spark of life jumps the gap, then suddenly the lights come on. Suddenly the life enters in. Suddenly recognition. When he personally spoke that message of love, it awakened in her the fact that he's alive. And suddenly, when the lights come on, there's this recognition. That face, that voice. That's the wake up. How often in dream state, not aware, and then suddenly to wake up, to recognize. My new cell phone that I'm still trying to learn how to use. This one's got fingerprint recognition and face recognition, and I put that sort of stuff on there, or I allowed it to be there because I thought, well, just safety in case there's some banking things. And at any rate, like so many modern nuisances, or modern conveniences that become nuisance. But so often I open my phone, I want to do something. Almost never banking, but I want to do whatever I want to do, and I look at it, and it gives a split second there to recognize my face, and if it doesn't recognize face, I can do the fingerprint. If it doesn't do that, then I can put in the code or whatever. But so often I turn the phone, and it looks at me, I put my picture in, it's supposed to know my face, but so often it'll say, face not recognized, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, yeah, I'm being disowned by my phone. It's like, oh. And then fingerprints, it doesn't, at any rate. It just illustrates to me this whole idea of recognition, of when suddenly that spark of love, that personal love, and suddenly you recognize, this is the one who loves me and cares for me. Yes, he owns me, but not like a slave. He owns me as love can only own love. He's my beloved, I'm his. Recognition. Oh man, that's precious. God has taken on human face. He wants us. If you've seen me, you've seen the Father. Wow, a lot to think of. At any rate, Jesus said to her, stop clinging to me. Stop clinging to me. For I have not yet ascended to the Father, but go to my brethren. He'd never spoken that way before. He called them disciples. He called them even friends in the upper room. But he says, go to my brethren. These are my brethren. And say to them, I ascend to my Father and your Father, to my God and to your God. He says, stop clinging to me because I haven't yet ascended. But then he said, go give the message that I am ascending. I haven't yet, but I am. That's the message. Again, it's not either or, it's both and. It's I haven't yet, it's not complete, but it's in the process. I'm ascending. There's this upward call, there's this upward movement for us, for the whole of humanity, an upward spiral. But you have to give your assent to the ascending. You have to stop clinging. You have to let go. For you personally. If you want to be a part of the upward call, if you want to respond to the upward call, if you want to be a part of what happens for humanity as our head moves forward, you have to say in your own heart, okay, go ahead. And go ahead basically means I got to let go. I got to quit clinging. The familiar things of love that I knew I need to let go of, but not to lose in order to gain. It's in letting go that I hold on. It's in letting go in love that I hold on in hope. And that's what she's called to do. That's what we're all called to do. Hold on. Now let go. And how hard that must have been for Mary. How hard. I love him because he loves me. Of all the things that Mary Magdalene had gone through, he loves me. You know, maybe I'm supposed to have a mission to all of mankind. That's fine, but I don't care that much about mankind. It's just that one kind man. That one kind man I met and cared for me and loved me. And yet she needs to learn, like we all need to learn, that in that one kind man, we have the seed. We have the part. We get the whole by learning to, in turn, love all of mankind. To do as he did, to follow it as he walked. Going back, the Sermon on the Mount, he says it all right there. And so again, hard perhaps, but we have to learn. We have to choose. We have to quit clinging. We have to say, go ahead. Go ahead. And then hold on to those unseen seeds, knowing those are the ones that are going to thrive. Those are the ones that are going to blossom and not just see again in abundance. Love lets go. That's the picture. That's the mantra, if you will. That's what I keep saying to myself. Love lets go. But it doesn't lose. It never loses. Love lets go while hope holds on. And hope that is seen is not the hope that we hope in. It's not the seen seed. It's not the seed I hold in my hand, safely put away. It's still in the package, sealed package. I put it in the drawer. Those seeds are dormant. No, it's the ones you just let go of. Let it go. Let it be buried, out of sight, never out of heart. But those are the seeds. Those are the seeds that we see again. Those are the things, we bury them away in our heart, not dead things in our heart. Not the way it was for Mary those first couple of days. No, from here on out, the things that are buried in our heart, the things we no longer see, those things buried in our heart isn't a tomb filled with dead things. Our heart is a womb. And from that garden, oh man, the fruit already starts to flow because we're hopeful, we're at peace, we're messengers of hope because we have that. We're not hoping for heaven. Heaven is happening. It's happening right here. And that's the wonderful message. And in the case of Mary, it says, verse 18, Mary Magdalene, well, she did what he said. She let go. She quit clinging. She let go. And Mary Magdalene came announcing to the disciples, I have seen the Lord, and that he has said these things to me. Mary moves away from the one. And yet by going back to the many, moving from the one to the many, she doesn't lose him. That's the way she holds on to him. She lets him go. She moves from the one out to the many and loves them by simply saying what he told Even though they're not going to receive it or respond, she still comes and just tells them. She continues to love the one she never wanted to let go of. She continues to actively love him by letting go and then learning to actively love the many. Even the many who are disrespectful and arrogant, and you're just a woman, and what do you have to say? It's in learning to love the many that you continue to love the one. And that's the way it works. She's assenting. She's giving the nod. She's assenting to the ascending, and she's already on her way. The upward spiral. That's the way it works. Losing. And then letting go of what you've lost. And then being renewed on a higher level, because the fact is, I can never lose that which love has given me. And letting it go is the way that you hold on. Holding on in hope. And so you see it, I see it here with this perfect, beautiful picture of Mary assenting to ascend, agreeing to expand, outward bound. Let go of the one, move on to the many, agreeing to expand. As they say in Narnia, further up and further in. That's life.